Pranav sir is the founder and CEO of HUX Inc. and Plus Capital. Uh, Nisarg Pandya sir is the is the co-founder of Drive Buddy AI, CEO and co-founder of Drive Buddy AI, and Nitesh Kumar Jangir, sir is actually co-founder at COEO Labs, and he is also a Forbes 30 under 30. Uh, Starting off with, so how are you all dealing with the pandemic right now?
Yeah, for me, like pandemic has given me a lot of learning in terms of rewriting the business model and the how whole business model will look like post pandemic. It is not like one should not think about only looking at the perspective of that how things are looking in short term, but like also if things will recover and vaccine is going to come anytime soon between 3 to 6 months, then how the whole ecosystem will look like and how the ecosystem will evolve. So a lot of startups I'm talking about nowadays, they are just talking about, they are completely focused on that pandemic is going to continue forever. So that's the one suggestion, and for my company as well. And as an investor with Plus Capital, my first company for almost 15 years, I have just given this perspective to people that if any this sort of black swan event comes, then like you should think as a like what is going to happen in short term and like what is going to happen in medium term. So you should rewrite everything around keeping those things in the mind. Thank you.
So how about Nisarg sir? You're the co-founder of Drive Buddy AI, but with this lockdown, it's actually affected your objective of the startup only, no? How is it? How are you dealing with it?
Yeah, so specifically in the lockdown, yeah, so what we have done is that since we are in the product development stage, the lockdown came like kind of little more as a vardhan for us. So we kind of we developed a lot of stuff in the technology, like everyone is working from home. Productivity has increased a little. So like everyone was working. We had a good productivity from the people developed and almost completed a platform to be launched soon. And also it helped in a way that a lot of companies who are in the similar domain, like kind of it was like if you see the race is going on, so we got kind of a 6 months time where we can put ourselves ahead in the market. So that is something which has happened, and now things have opened up. So we are also starting kind of implementing things on the field. So right now I'm sitting in one of the vehicle doing testing for our product. So that is something kind of we are doing. And lockdown has impacted definitely a business part of our journey, but product development has increased and improved a lot.
Uh, so Nitish,
Yeah, I think lockdown or overall pandemic hasn't affected us much because we are we are into healthcare industry itself. So the way it has affected us, I would say in positive way in terms of that, but that's a business wise and as a humans as a species, it had not affected well, but business wise, it has accelerated us because we are into critical care. We were always there. This thing and uh, this kind of pandemic came today, it will come tomorrow. Means uh, we luckily we were into this field. We were into infection prevention. We were into providing respiratory support to ICU patients. So for us, and because we were part of essential services, our business also wasn't much affected by this. Only issue we faced was related to supply chains because of pandemic that get affected a lot. But then I think in 5 to 10 days, being as essential services, that also got sorted out through government itself.
okay. Uh, so all three panelists, can you all give a brief description about your uh, ventures along with the change in the business model that you have opted for right now, if for this like short term period, or like, if you're fine with it for the short term and medium term period, about the business model and what all cost cutting would you suggest for many other startups who are thinking of like sustaining right themselves right now? So we'll start off with Pranav. So which is the I mean, like, can you speak about your venture and how exactly what are you suggesting many other startups under your umbrella how to go about with cost cutting and what business model are you suggesting right now?
Uh, so like we were very selective about the business model since very beginning before pandemic, and like we have only selected companies with the positive unit economics. We have not believed in like a short cash burning business where like no you are not sure about your business model and you're only sure about the customer growth and number of customers you are acquiring. So many venture capital firms or many investors individually, they have their different thought process around investing into different companies, but we were very sure that this is what we know and this is how we want to invest into different companies. So that was very so this operation automation company is also like into stealth mode. A couple of companies are still they have still started their operation and kind of they are building the product and rest of the things. So like we clearly know that what budget they are targeting. There is an existing problem in the industry and there is a provisioned budget for that particular thing. And then so so answering your question is like picking up those companies then definitely helps. And pandemic definitely made everyone more empathetic. So empathy is going to be the key, like how you are going to respond to the people, the business partners, because a lot of business contracts are going to get rewritten, and it is happening nowadays because all the stakeholders were not very comfortable with the past contract because they all have their revenue related challenges. So how all the stakeholders can take care of each other and create a amicable solution for the whole ecosystem is what I'm thinking, and I'm looking at when I look at startups they are doing successfully. Yeah.
So Nizar, sir, can you
Yeah.
speak more about your startup and how exactly have you changed
Yeah.
your business
So
model right now?
yeah.
Um,
Yes, definitely. So what we do normally is that we are into logistics and the telematics industry. We are ahead of the kind of current industry trend, which is like the GPS system, which is normally a lot of fleet companies and logistic companies use for tracking their vehicles. But the world has moved ahead towards autonomous vehicle tech, and we are on the technology development as well as we are using those tech for visual telematics. So that is kind of one new paradigm which has started globally. So we are working on that at DriveBuddy AI. We have the camera-based system. So if you want to just see, I'll just show you how things looks. I can just swap my camera. I'll show you how this looks. So you see this. So these are this which we have, and one can focus on the road, other can focus on the driver, and we normally see that what is the behavior of he is driving. So a lot of improvements can happen when you have a video data and we are doing artificial intelligence on the device itself, kind of what we normally do. And we have all these devices connected to cloud where we collect all this data. We do detailed analytics in terms of video analytics as well as the data analytics, and we predict that how a driver is behaving and how that behavior is helping a fleet company as well as the insurance company to mitigate the frauds as well as optimizing the operations, and they can save a lot of losses. So that is something kind of and we are dealing with. Before pandemic, we did lot of pilots, like we were working in Delhi with one of the MNC company for their employee transportation, and we are also working with one of the public transport company and in their buses. So for the public bus, state transport buses. So this is something we have done. We were about to get those kind of contracts on the public transport, but because of the pandemic, the whole things kind of just got halted, and still it is kind of not in line and it's not streamlined because all the priorities of the government is going for the health systems and not for the other projects. So this is something kind of which has halted us, but nonetheless we have again started, and now we are again kind of starting back to touch base with the lot of customers, and the business model is not yet kind of as much changed, because one thing which has changed definitely is that the spending capacity and the appetite of the customers, fleet fleet customers has reduced. We have come up with more of the SaaS based model in the hardware also, which we call it as a HaaS. So it's like giving hardware as a service and providing that, which will, it's a win-win situation for both kinds of companies. So that is something which we have done so far.
Okay. Nitish, sir, what is your startup about, and which business model are you referring? Are you going to adopt right now? I mean, like, it's only going to be a boost for you, whichever you adopt, because you are in the healthcare industry.
Yeah. I run a medical device company based out of Bangalore itself. We specialize in the field of emergency and critical care. We make all of our products are first in the world technologies, and we have patents granted across the globe.
So,
So
what is
for
the
us,
name of your company, and what is the name of your app? Like, I'll be
no,
putting it
we are
in.
not. We are not into apps. We are into hardware. We make medical devices, not the
Okay.
not the software. The devices like which goes inside the patient's lung, take out infected fluid, and make sure the patient does not have excessive amount of infected fluid inside their lungs. So those kind of products we make. My company name is Koyo Labs. We are based out of Bangalore itself. I think the first thing, I think there's a misconception that healthcare field is growing a lot. Because of COVID, I think the one field which has been affected along with travel, tourism, and I think is healthcare. Only the area of critical care where the whole COVID effect has given a boost is going up. Everything else is right now under a lot of stress. Hospitals revenue are right now at 10 to 15% of what these were
What, sir?
before.
I'm sorry, we lost you a bit.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, something hospitals revenues have reduced. So in the field of people who are selling stuff in surgeries, obstetric gynecology, ENT, any other field, revenues had dropped down. So and overall, but for us, because being a device company, being in critical care, it was straightforward business opportunity. But now it's getting stagnant also. People have bought enough that they are not going to buy anything for next 5 years. So for short term, it has benefited, but then for medium term, we are looking at how we can convert products into services, how we can have more innovative, or how we can improve this new revenue, how we can put this new revenue into more research and development to have better products which improves clinical performance. So overall, healthcare systems have more clinical reasons to buy our innovation. So that's the strategy we are having, to invest more into R&D and have better products.
That's the in-field practicality you're giving. Actually, what I thought was, my sister is doing her MS in general surgery after MBBS in MS Ramaya, and she was saying the COVID patients, the charges goes on like lakhs per day for the ICU and ventilator and stuff like that. And so many hospitals seem to be minting money through the COVID issue, but
no, many of them are going to get one bankrupt, because ICU is not the place where hospitals make money. They make money out of procedures, and their expenses have increased. They have to a lot of PP expenses have added. Their staff is at 50%. So hospitals are under a lot of stress right now.
true, beds are also not there many places.
Yeah.
Okay. Pranav, so what are the tips or tricks that you would want to give for many other startups who are trying their best to sustain this issue, this pandemic right now? You're also associated with Y Combinator. What are the steps that your Y Combinator or HUEX is taking up to help the startups?
Yeah, definitely. It's an unprecedented situation, and all the startups, they have their own advantages and disadvantages. So like we cannot generalize here that how we can, but one thing I can suggest here is just try to be not run out of the money. because if your runway is like 18 months or 12 months or 9 months, then just try to see that how you can increase your runway, because you never know that how long it is going to take. And if you if you run out of money, then it is a problem for you. Then like no, whatever you are thinking, whatever however you are thinking to grow that business, it might take 6 months more, 7 months more, or 1 year more to innovate new things and to brainstorm to create new wings for your business vertical. But if you are no more into the business, then it's a problem for you. And so that's why like I the only advice I can give, that just take care of your money in the bank and just see that how long it can go without affecting the innovation and kind of the work you are doing. For sure it's really painful. I never wanted to speak, but like people have to remove a lot of workforces and the kind of people who are involved around them and kind of those things. And a lot of startups with tons of money, they are taking advantage of it as well. If you have a money in bank account, I know few of the startups. Their team like they attracted almost 20 to 25 ex co-founders or founders into their team for their company, right? So that is the advantage you have. If you have those entrepreneurs working for your startups and they are bringing those different perspective for your company, that is the only thing you can do. I mean, like as a founder and CEO, that's the best thing you can do, that attract the right kind of talent. So it's a two-way situation where you want to save your company, and for many companies it's a situation where they can attract amazing talents across the board, and like no, they can add those values into the company. So yeah, that's what I would suggest, and like that's what I'm doing for my venture as well, where like no, I can attract people, I can attract talented people, because they are under some constraint, but giving them, handling them with a lot of empathy and saying that hey, this is the place, we will take care of you, and it's your family, and like just wherever I can help you, I can help you. It's not that you come and serve us, but like it's like wherever you are, just I'm with you and taking care of them. Yeah. That's the thing I can suggest for the startups. Yeah, with the medium size and the big and the small startups as well. Overall the ecosystem, it applies everywhere, right? Because like you have to be very very curious about what's happening outside. Suppose yeah, Nilesh is into the healthcare product, and like some company in San Francisco is struggling with a lot of things, right? And Nitesh, sorry. So like we can create some synergy with the product and see that like no, if they can contribute in some way or other. So that is like at the startup level also. I have seen a lot of M&A happening, and we can't tell eventually a merger and acquisition, but like just exchanging the whole idea and kind of combining something unique and different out of it, because the resources are limited, right? Resources are limited. People are so optimizing the resource, the capital and the human capital as well, talented people around. I mean, like I know a lot of talented people are like, just see the Airbnb is the perfect example. 8,000 workforce, and now 2,500 workforce out of 8,000 are on the street of San Francisco, and like all across the US. And I know them, like they are extremely talented individuals, and if you can attract them for your company, that is a boon for you, and like you can create something amazing out of it. And I know companies like Robinhood, Jirodha actually is the model. Like Jirodha adopted the model of Robinhood. Like Robinhood was the company based out of Palo Alto. So Robinhood and companies like that who has like all sort of money, they have attracted those people into their team, because that's what matters the most. It's not money, it's the team, it's the people, right? Thank you. Yeah. That's
So
what I
and
do.
also you're the co-founder of Plus Capital. So
Yeah.
how is the investing economy doing right now? Like how is the funds flowing? are they still interested in investing in the startups? Because startups right now are desperate for money, and I mean,
Yeah.
there's way too much of cash crunches happening anyway, and they don't even know whether they'll survive this or not. It's not even a economic boom. It's more like a disaster that has affected in all spheres, in almost everywhere.
Yeah.
So how's the investors' economy doing right
Yeah,
now? Would they
I
be
think
interested in reinvesting in the startups that are not doing well and they are in the crunch of dying out?
yeah, it depends on the business model, and again, the listed side of the ecosystem is doing pretty well because monies are getting infused. I think my personal views, with a lot of with the disclaimer, I can say that um, all this happening is because of the US elections as well, and they want to keep everything like good before 3rd November, and probably the actual uh, listed side of the market will respond after US election, and then that's when the money outflow, if they feel that money outflow will happen. The economy is surviving, economy is struggling with multiple things, and still market is going up, and stocks are getting doubled, tripled. I know stocks are like, no, the companies are like just got 6x return in last 3 months, 5x return in last 3 months. A lot of chemical companies are doing good. Yeah, so but like again, the unlisted side, the pretty uncertain market. So wherever the business model is fixed, you know that you are, so bootstrapping is one of the option, like how you can bootstrap yourself into this situation where you don't know that how long it is going to take. So you have definitely a long-term plan where the money is going to get infused into your company, and you are going to you have already a sketched plan for it, like that.
I think we lost Sir somewhere. Um, N- Nitesh sir, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. I can hear you.
Okay, okay. Uh, like Nitesh sir and Nisarg sir, both of you have. So I think Pranav sir is back. So we lost you in just a while somewhere when you were speaking.
Oh yeah, so that's what I was concluding, the bootstrapping, and like you have a long-term plan, and when the money is going to get infused, and then you have a short-term bootstrapping plan as well where you are going to survive. So if your startup and plan is the combination of these two, then like you are going to sail through this whole crisis.
Okay. Would you suggest any of the big investors or any of them who are still fine with investing right now, and how are they even doing it?
And every day they are investing. GC, General Catalyst, and I know companies, like I missed a lot of deals. I'll tell you, I was in Bandra, Mumbai, like almost 4 years ago, and the name of this company is Oro Wealth, and like the Vijay Kupa, the IIT guy, he was meeting me in like Rebello Road, 17 Tea Room is the name of that cafe, and like we were discussing, and he was asking for a small money, and I was not very convinced about the product, and missed it, and then the one of the biggest firm based out of Palo Alto, Chamet is the founder, called Social Capital. They have the corpus of almost $8-9 billion. They have invested into them,
I
right?
mean, like
So
if they're investing now during the pandemic time,
yeah. So what's your question again? Like
uh, like are
so
there people
yeah,
investing now
yeah.
during
So
the
my answer is yeah, yeah, definitely they are investing money at every stage. If I have to draw a pie around it, then I would suggest you that like the later stage venture or Series B and Series A level fundings are happening more than the seed stage, but like seed stage is also happening if the business model is very intact, and if they have a bootstrapped way where they can survive for a longer period of time, and they have a very very concrete unit economics and business model around it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Nitish. So, what are your tips and tricks for many of the startups who are trying to sustain themselves?
Yeah, I think on that that they I agree with Vignesh about it, that you have to bootstrap, you have to save your money. And there's no other option available right now. Uh, as he's saying, with even deals are happening, investment is happening, but uh, deals are getting delayed. Lot more due diligence is happening. Money is not flowing that fast. Uh, and more than that, now companies or investors started looking at more and more companies which are making bigger revenue and have less operational cost. So I think looking at not just one-time costs, but also the regular operational costs that also have to be optimized a lot. And a lot of companies earlier used to spend a lot on Google ads, and I think even companies which were not get any customers out of that, just to have a brand building PR. So all those things which are really not essential, this is a good time to make sure that or save money on that side. uh, have as longer run as you can, and is I think even almost all investors like that quality, if for the long run, that if you can optimize your funding and optimize your operations, and the more time you have, the more you can bargain with investors.
Okay. Nisarg, so what are your tips and tricks for startups who are trying to sustain themselves?
Yeah, so definitely I would, kind of like to, I would like to say that what we have done is something, the first thing, when the lockdown started, the whole leadership and management, kind of took a peek at for the sustainability. And we tried as much as possible to, kind of save the people and invest in more people, so that in the time of lockdown, because our businesses are, kind of halted for a lot of time. So one of our investors company, they had some 50-60 people, they were, kind of in the kind of call center kind of jobs, and this was all halted. So we did something like we utilize all those resources for annotation jobs, so we train them for annotation. So this is like, kind of without firing people, kind of we can now engage those people in a different kind of activities, which will ultimately, kind of save them also, help them also. And kind of it's more of the investing in the people. The other thing is like, as Mitesh also said that cutting the cost for the PR and the marketing, which is not required right now anyway. So those definitely helps a lot in optimizing the operation. So it's more of the how we can go as much as lean as possible is something, kind of which would help any startup at this point of time.
Okay. This particularly is for Nitesh sir and Nisarg sir. Which branches of employees are you cutting down right now? Like you would are cutting down on HR or PR or advertising or marketing. What steps are you like foregoing right now?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
we
I think
started specifically with the PR cut. That is something we did for the, on the very first month of lockdown. Rest of the, kind of development, the more hiring people, like, kind of we have also optimized our hiring, requirements. Like till the time we don't have a strong need of such resource, and if it could be managed, then we don't hire. If we really have a need, then we are hiring, and we are, kind of the existing resource for doing as much work as possible.
Nitesh sir?
Yeah, I think luckily we didn't have means our business does not get much affected by PR and normal marketing activities. Means hospitals never go on Facebook and see what they want to buy, so we never spend money on that side. Actually, we have not done cost cutting in a specific department. We just became more conscious about every department where we are spending money. So it's not just about one thing, but about everything. When we spend money, we just see, uh, can we optimize it? Can we? Are there any other ways without wasting time also on it? Because then time is also kind of money. So without wasting much time on it, uh, we just decide that whatever we are doing with this money is really essential or not, or is there any other way we can optimize this whole situation. Yeah, so there's no specific one department where we have cut down the cost.
Okay. Thanks for coming, sir. Nisarg sir, Nitesh sir, and Pranav sir. For all the startups and entrepreneurs who are starting off on their own, there's this book called as Ease of Doing Business. it's a compilation of corporate compliances and exemptions for startups. Nisarg sir is also featured in that book. Nitesh sir is also featured in the book, in the footnotes of the book. It'll be put in the description box below. Thank you.